Peace and respect to you all. Welcome to Demolished Doctrine, the beginning of the end of all the religions. And our guest this afternoon, St. Tommy of God. St. Tommy of God, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do and stuff.
I am St. Tommy of God, and I breathe. I have an oxygen addiction that's kicking my ass, and I am pleased to be here, Brother Richard. Rest assured, you hold my gratitude and God. Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. St. Tommy of God can also be seen often on Ace Theo channel, as a matter of fact. Let's see, where else do you show up on a regular basis?
Down at the food pantry, and
Granted.
Okay. and in my bathroom.
Right on. Okay. So look for him those places. And you promised to challenge me on some of my views on scriptures. So is there anything that you had in mind, or should I make an assertion for you to attack? Or
Well, actually, I pledged. I wrote a check that I probably won't cash, but I pledged to grill you
right
more.
on.
Yeah, grill you, not attack you. Who's got time for that childishness? Not me. You know, a deposition, Richard, is a phenomena. Even a YouTube deposition is a phenomena where people ask one another questions for mutual contemplation in order to behold what is true more clearly.
That's my idea of a good time right there.
There it is. There it is. And that is far from, a debate. God, who's got time for a debate when it comes to truth? Not me. Not me. Yeah. A deposition, a mutual deposition, that we both might behold what is true more clearly by asking one another contemplative questions, clever ones. Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, let's make an attempt at that then.
Oh, sounds good.
All right, cool. Did you have something to start with?
Yes. Richard, are you growing out of your habit of telling other men what they don't believe?
Or when did you stop beating your wife? Aside from it being a fallacious and loaded question, aside from that, I only recall to people what they themselves profess in public, or recall to others what someone else had professed in public. So I don't think that's telling people what they believe. Or how did you say it?
Thank you.
Like if I said that,
okay.
if I said that Irenic Pelagian is a partial preterist and an open theist, it's just stuff he's said. I'm not saying
Richard,
what he thinks. I'm saying what he's declared that he thinks.
Let me repose the question for your contemplative edification, shall I?
Oh, please.
Are you growing out of your habit of telling all Christians what they do not believe?
I don't think I attempt to tell people what they don't believe.
Is that a yes or a no? Or
I don't think I do
maybe?
That.
Okay. Well, I didn't say you did. I just asked.
Fair enough. Peace and respect, Cryptomaria. And Brian Stevens, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a minute. Okay, but now I do try to tell people things that I do believe, and oftentimes they don't believe that same thing. Is that what you mean?
No, I was asking about your habits. I was asking about your habits. Your habit of telling all Christians what they do not believe. I was asking about, are you growing out of that habit? That's all. That's
Okay.
just asking.
Do you feel
Just
that you
asking.
have a habit of making attempts at humor instead of having serious conversations when they're available?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I suspected as
Okay.
much.
Are you growing out of the compulsion of telling other men who they are not?
Well, only when they claim things that aren't true am I going to do something like that. And
Well,
I have done
I'm
that
just
specific.
asking if you're growing out of it, Richard. That's all.
No, I won't. I won't be growing out of that. And I think there's nothing to grow out of. I think you have to grow into that.
How long have you been in the habit of telling other men who they are not?
Ever since I heard
Sit,
Christians
sit.
making biblical claims that are anti-biblical.
God, that must be endless. I mean,
No, it's very
if you
recent.
seek,
Only perhaps the last 5 years or
look,
so.
I heard that if you find what you seek, Richard, and if you seek to find other men to tell them who they are not, you will surely find men to tell them who they are really not, compulsively and or habitually. That's what I
Well, it
heard.
depends on
I could be
it
wrong.
depends on what they claim. I mean, if you claimed that you're a giraffe, I'm gonna have questions about that. I'm gonna think you're wrong, and then I'm gonna try to figure out why you think that, and I'm gonna try to show you that you're not a giraffe.
Wait a second. What if I have 97% DNA similarities? I mean, surely that qualifies as giraffe.
Sure, but it also
97%.
qualifies you as 65% chicken
Okay, 65%. Wow.
and
I,
35% lima bean.
okay, thank you. Yes.
Something about 57% banana. I mean, come on, that's just silly. It's not what you are.
Okay. Have you ever posed a question to another human being to solicit an untruthful self conceptualization?
No, I've never asked for that, although I think people say it.
Okay. Have you ever asked a brother? Have you ever looked at a woman lustfully?
No, I've never asked someone that. I assume they look at someone lustfully.
I see. Have you ever tempted another human being unto untruthful self conceptualization?
I don't think so. I think people do that on their own. I don't think I have to do that.
So you're not morally required to do that. Is that what you're supposing?
Oh, am I morally required? Yes. I mean, in my humanitarian efforts, when someone says something that I am sure is false, I should try to show them why I think it is false, because truths result in happiness, whereas believing falsehoods uh, end up in frustration and maladjustment.
Okay. Have you ever have you ever called another man a liar simply for fibbing?
Oh, certainly fibbing is lying, and I probably have. I'm pretty sure I have. Yeah.
Uh, Are you in the habit of tempting other men to untruthful self conceptualization? I ask you again, Richard.
Give me a minute. Look, to the side chat, to Assembly of God. If you're just here to start a fight or something, go somewhere else.
Oh,
Yeah,
feed your
you're saying.
trolls.
Hold
Feed
on
your
a second,
trolls, Richard. Sorry, sorry.
Hold on. I'll be right back with you in just a minute if you just let me. I don't think you understand the difference between being convicted by 12 of your peers and accepting a plea bargain. I don't think you recognize the difference. And I did not defend a pedophile. I defended someone and will continue to defend someone that I think is not a pedophile. So I'm not a pedophile apologist or something. I just think that the man is innocent and I'm defending his innocence. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm not defending a convicted pedophile. I'm just not doing that. I wish you could see the difference. Peace and respect, Harple Blues.
Have you ever defended the ass of God?
Oh, no, I don't defend God. God doesn't need me to defend it.
I said the ass of God, or excuse me, the
Or any other
assembly,
part for that matter.
the assembly of God. Yes.
Oh, have I ever defended assembly? I just did. I defended him and trying to encourage him to accept things that are true in reality and be happier. So that's a form of defense.
Do you ever find it difficult to defend a man from his own defiled conscience?
Defiled conscience. Yeah, well, that is difficult. It is. I think it would take a psychologist, a well-trained, intuitive psychologist to do such a thing. I don't try to do stuff like that.
How long have you been a well-trained intuitive psychologist, Richard?
Oh, actually, since I was 6. That's when my grandmother was absolutely convinced that I was going to become a psychologist, and she started saving for me for college.
How successful has your psychological career, a vocation, been?
I haven't developed it.
Oh, okay.
I've never tried to develop it.
Right. Have you ever been a wannabe guru?
I don't know what you mean by guru.
Maybe. That's a personal question. I withdraw it.
These are all personal questions. They're okay. It's fine. I just don't understand how you're using that word.
Well,
people use that word in a myriad of ways. I don't know.
Of course. Well, use the definition that you have in your mind. Have you ever wanted to be a wannabe guru? Yeah, let me rephrase it like that.
Okay. Do I believe in the guru and am I trying to follow the guru? Yes. And that guru is commonly called Christ.
Okay, cool. I like that. I endorse that. And I commend it. But enough of my petty ratings. Yes. Do you find my junior Bible study questions to be sophomoric?
Well, since you asked, yes.
Okay.
But that's not personally anything against you, Tommy.
Of course
it's just
not.
that
Of course not.
I want to justify that, if you don't mind. I'd like to explain that I think all of religious practitioners' traditional understandings based in churches are sophomoric. All of them.
By default.
Yeah, like thinking that what God meant was he made a donkey talk. That's just sophomoric. That's not what it means.
Okay. Well, your ratings are your own, and I'm noting them. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Now that story has deep and true meaning in it. Even if it's using metaphorical language, like assigning human values to a living animal or anthropomorphization. Even when it's using that, it's trying to say something that is true and is important, but it's the tradition of those people. And yes, I've actually been there and met some indigenously. It's their tradition to not say things directly. They consider that to be rude. So in the style of that people and of that time, everything was said metaphorically. You don't come straight out and say things because that's considered to be forward and rude, and it's just not the habit of those people. it's always the story of, oh, well, I'd been traveling and I met a woman at a well, and I asked the woman for a cup of water. That's always the way things are told.
Fair enough. Do you believe in the whole Bible?
Yes.
Do you believe in the Holy Bible?
Well, I believe the Bible is holy, just like many other things. Yes.
So you believe in the whole Holy Bible?
Yes.
Okay, I did preface them as sophomoric. Don't forget. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Uh, since what I believe happened is that we are given these stories directly from heaven, and they're literally written down by perfected beings, those who have already ascended and been quickened, or use what
Uh-huh.
expression you like there to mean perfected,
Right.
and that they're recalling their near past experience. That is, they just went through end times not so long ago, and they're given the Great Commission to write down the story and share that gospel. So they do, because they see it's a righteous thing to do. So they do it. So it ends up with all of it being spoken past tense, which makes sense because it just happened to them. It is past tense. Even the story of the book of Revelation, the experience of John, is written in the past tense for exactly that reason. He's talking about what already happened. He's not talking about future things.
Okay.
It already happened with him.
Okay.
What's that?
Okay. I mean, yes. Right.
Okay.
I'm here.
So because of that, they would be familiar with earth languages, and they may even have been like a Hebrew scholar, or an Aramaic scholar, or a Greek scholar, or a scholar in Latin. So that being the case, they can
No,
write the
no.
stories in these languages. So it makes sense to me that if you were very familiar with a foreign language, you might slightly alter your dialect, maybe on purpose and maybe by accident. Not that it's relevant whether or not that dialect changes, resulting in the end of Paul looking like not the same person wrote it. I totally understand that. If a person needs it to be a historical record of this earth, then things like that would make parts like that false.
Okay.
But I don't think they
Please.
are false. I think it's just that Paul understood that language well enough that he could write in it, but he had like some of the nuance was missing from his education. So he accidentally altered dialect. Maybe didn't mean to. May have done it on purpose and truly been a master of it. I can't tell. Peace and respect, Peter W. And rebuke and
Okay.
reprove.
For the sake of brevity and time, please limit your
To
responses to
2 minutes.
under 1,000 words, please.
I think all of them have been actually, but anyway.
Yes, they have. None of it has exceeded 227. Yes.
Well, I'm not doing a Jillabuster here. I'm trying to get to the point.
I hear you, of course. And I was just being clever because I'm champing at the bit. Yes. It is my understanding, Brother Richard, that you experienced quite some time ago a very powerful revelation from God.
Changed my
Is
life.
Yes. Do you still hold perfect discernment of that particular powerful revelation, life-changing revelation?
Well, every time I go back and I review my notes, I review it in my mind first, and it seems that my memory is still accurate of it, if that's what you're asking me.
I was asking about the quality of your discernment of the revelation that you experienced.
Well,
Do
I
you
don't think this is
still?
about my discernment.
Okay, well, I was asking about your discernment. I was asking particularly about your discernment of your discernment. but that might not have been apparent to you. That might
No,
not
that's
have been
fine.
apparent to you.
My discernment of my discernment is that my discernment is trash. Okay?
Oh my God.
Because we are flawed human beings with flawed brains. We have not been ascended, we have not been perfected, and that's just our situation, and we have to live with it.
Where on
So
God's green earth do you get your discernment from, brother?
I don't believe I have any. I think I have to adopt the discernment of the Father in order to have anything valuable.
Oh, so you get your discernment from God. Is that what you're saying? Claiming
No,
or
I'm
believing?
claiming that I'm doing my best to adopt the Father's discernment and not use my own.
Okay. Was your revelation at the time you received it from God, life changing and all, was it beyond doubt?
No, the first thing I did was doubt it, and I went and aggressively tried to disprove it, and it is yet to be disproven by myself and people with degrees and people with education and people smarter than I am. So it, at least for now, it holds, and I don't know that it will
Thank you.
continue to
Thank you.
hold,
Yeah,
but
who can predict it? Yeah.
I believe it will continue to hold.
Hmm. If tradition holds, you believe that tradition will hold. Yes.
That's not
Okay.
what
Cool.
that's not what
No, no, sorry. I don't mean to
what
put
I said
words
is
in your mind. I don't mean to
so
put
far
words in your mind, Ruth. Sorry.
so far something a decade and a few months old doesn't seem to be disprovable.
Have you ever heard of learned memories?
Sure, were people filling gaps? Yeah,
Hmm. Um, would you be willing to tolerate me going to the washroom to urinate briefly?
I'm absolutely fine with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, Peter W., I do believe that the story of the Bible is talking about the end of all religions, and that's part of us becoming one people and part of us becoming one church. And that church is based in the objective truth that we don't right now have. So I believe that what is going to happen at the end of this planet is the demolishing of all doctrines. There'll be no more doctrines. There'll be no more synagogue. There'll be no more chapel. There'll be no more sweat lodge, any of those things. And we're going to be shown that all of our magical thinking was wrong. All of our superstitions were unfounded.
Oh, I
And
look
and
forward
if
to it.
that's the destruction of your religion, then I think you should welcome it because that would be the welcoming of truth.
Do you believe that nothing so needs reform as another man's religion?
No, there's things worse than that.
Okay. Okay. Um, do you consider doubt to be a sin?
No, I think doubt is a power.
Are you now, or have you ever been entangled in unbelief?
Of what?
God?
Oh, yeah, I was an anti-theist for 30 years.
Do you believe in God this hour?
In my definition of God, yeah, I'm absolutely convinced.
Okay. Okay. Do you believe in God when you're sleeping?
I don't think I believe. I mean, I wake up still me, plus experiences, plus recalculations, plus adjustments of my map of reality. But I still think that I am me. But I don't feel myself thinking things while I'm asleep or believing things. I'm just asleep.
Do you believe that some men, like Ass of God, who call themselves atheists, may actually be believers entangled in unbelief?
Well, yes, but justifiably. I mean, after all, we're still on this earth talking about end times, and it hasn't happened. And I think there's a really good reason that end times is some 7 years. It's to prolong their experience long enough that they get convinced of their own experience and change their position on things. So I think that atheists are experiencing a temporary situation, just like the superstitious people are experiencing a temporary situation, and it'll be fine. Von Erich wrote, "You
Uh-huh.
said no more. Will this no more be forever once it's taken away?" Yes, I believe once we're in heaven, we will never have religion again of any kind. In fact, the story says that in the place of descending, that is the descending of the angels, when we cross over into the promised land, that is to say heaven, 12 priests will take 12 stones and or equivalently Bibles or 12 different religions. And I expect those will be books on the 12 major religions of this planet to take
Wow.
them into where we camp that night, that is to say heaven. And they'll
Mhm.
be displayed in heaven so that later, when children ask, what are these 12 books? We can explain to them that once we crossed the River Jordan, and before that, we believed things that were not true.
Cool. Do you
So, an
believe?
educational tool
Mhm.
for children.
Mhm.
That's what religion becomes, an educational tool for children. It's going to be, it's rather ironic, actually.
Do you still believe in the religion that you held 2 years ago?
I don't have a religion,
Okay.
and I didn't believe in one 2 years ago.
Okay. Do you believe that the Yellowstone caldera thingy? Do you still believe that the Yellowstone was going to blow 2 years
Yes.
ago?
Yeah, oh, I still believe that it's going to blow, and I believe that there's a series of events we will see, and that will be the heralding of the arrival of the angels. I believe the prophecy is true in that way that we're going to see real things, and we're
I'll
all
take
going to
that.
know that it's going on. Now,
I'll take
as
that as a
as to
yes.
when end times starts, well, you and I both know that only the Father knows that. Although on occasion I get rather excited and I say things like I think it's going to be approximately this time frame with these things. And I have said that before and been incorrect.
Do you believe that Chicken Little was a liar?
No, just like Ezekiel believed what Ezekiel was saying, Chicken Little was only mistaken.
Oh, oh. Hmm, hmm. Do you think? Do you believe that Chicken Little was a fearmonger?
Well, yes, but I don't think purposefully.
Okay, I
It
hear you
wasn't
on
the
that.
intent. Unlike the boy
I
who
hear you.
cried wolf, whose intent was to instill fear.
Hmm. Interesting distinction between Chicken Little and the boy who cried wolf. That's yummy,
Yes. So
Richard. That is yummy. Hmm. Hmm, hmm.
since we're talking about the meanings of fairy tales, yes.
Okay, were both Chicken Little and um, the boy who cried wolf were both delusional? That
Delusional. Well, I
sorry,
think
that's
that
not.
Chicken Little in Chicken Little universe, Chicken Little was delusional. Okay, but I think the
Hmm.
boy who cried wolf could only be delusional in one specific way, that he thought what he was doing was funny, and I think that part of it was a delusion. But he wasn't himself fooled by his own lies.
What was the end of the boy who cried wolf?
It's something like he gets injured or his sheep gets injured by the wolf because no one comes to protect him because he called them out too many times.
So he himself was a victim of his
I haven't
own
heard that
fear
story. I haven't heard that story read to me since before I could read though, and I haven't read it myself, so It's been a couple years, so forgive me if that's wrong.
Have you ever read Horton Hears a Who?
Have I read it? No, but I've seen the cartoon on television. Assembly of God, you actually agree with me. That is to say, I agree with you on these things, but you're saying it wrong. It's not that Heracles also rose from the dead, but Heracles is the story of Jesus for a different people of a different time. But it's just the story of Jesus. It's just in our culture, we call the hero Jesus. You could easily call him Thor and you'd be correct. You could call him Buddha and you'd be correct. Those are just different names in different cultures.
Why does Assembly of God like to accuse you?
I don't know.
Do you
I'm
want
not
to
really concerned with
understand?
that.
Do you want to understand why Assembly of God likes to accuse you? Would you like to
Well,
understand?
I would hear your interpretation of that, sure.
Well, I haven't prayed about it, so I don't have anything there. But
I think that
if I pray about it and get something from God about it, I've heard if you pray for wisdom, He renders it. But
yes,
if
to
I
Christ, the one he promised it
yes,
to.
yes, and so if I pray for gracious understanding about why this precious human being who calls itself Assembly of God likes accusing you of something or other. If I get revelation from God, I will report it to you, Richard.
I
If I
appreciate it.
ask
Well,
for it
I don't
and
think
get it,
it's
yeah,
actually personal, because it's been my observation that Assembly of God will attack anyone that they can, trying to get some kind of an emotional reaction. And I think that's because they are within themselves unhappy and they need cheered up. And the way that they choose to cheer themselves up is by trying to diminish others. Whereas people who are strong and steady in what they believe is true and in their opinion of themselves try to lift others up.
okay. Do you believe assembly, Assembly of God um, seeks to crystallize his own unbelief, which comforts him?
That's entirely possible. Maybe Assembly of God is not the atheist that they think they are and is actually uncomfortable.
Have you ever heard of Darth Dawkins?
Yes, I've even had a conversation with Darth Dawkins, rather lengthy one.
Yes. Does Darth Dawkins, in your mind, does he seek to crystallize what he believes or what he doubts? Or both?
I don't know. I can't read him that easily. On first blush, my assumption was probably something like this gentleman has selected an argument style that he thinks is infallible and works 100% of the time. Probably as a form of testimony to others to convert them to his form of Christianity. And it would be specifically his form of Christianity. But I don't know that that's true, really. Maybe it's completely wrong. Maybe it's not even
Okay.
close to true.
Do you consider all trolls to be attackers?
Yes.
Oh, unfortunate. Um, I forgot my follow-up question. So I'll pause for a second. Do all theologians champion the dogmas that are most comforting to them personally?
Well, obviously, yes. In fact, they invented them practically.
Wow.
When a Christian goes, oh, I'm living in this new town, I'm going to look for a church. So they go to one church, and that preacher and those people don't agree with that particular practitioner. So they go to a different church. And those people and that preacher doesn't agree with the way that person understands the text of the Bible. So they go to a different church. I call this church shopping.
Oh,
So just like when you go to a grocery store of your preference, it's because that grocery store carries things you like. Well, does that mean that food in other grocery stores is bad for humans or even bad for you? Well, actually, no, it doesn't mean that. In fact, there could be a completely different grocery store that you don't like at all that carries the most nutritious, healthiest, best produced foods, but you don't select it because you don't like it. This is what Christians do. They go looking for a church to confirm their own biases, which is not necessarily what is best for them.
how long have you been in the habit of slandering other Christian preachers?
Ever since they started saying things that don't make sense.
Oh my, I bet that's
Oh, I
endless.
mean, I should say as soon as I noticed they were saying things that don't make sense. I
Uh-huh.
had to know that first.
How long have you suffered with the compulsion to slander other Christian preachers?
Ever since I read it in the Bible where I'm required to do that.
Are all trolls created equal?
No, some smarter than others, funnier than others, more creative, etc. Lots of differences.
Have you ever heard of a grace troll?
Are you just obsessed with yourself? Are we just only talking about you now? Is that it?
Please
Because
don't ask.
you're a grace troll yourself, aren't you?
Please don't ask obvious questions. Please, Richard.
Well, I
Please. Of
thought that was
course
an
I'm
obvious
obsessed.
question,
What are you gonna
so
do?
I thought
Call
I'd give
me?
you the obvious answer.
No. What are you gonna do? Assume that I'm just another narcissist?
No, you're a grace troll. Oh,
Are
you're not
all
just another narcissist. You're a very special and specific narcissist.
I would hope that you would think that I was extraordinary, Richard, because
You are. You are.
I think you are extraordinary.
I think all humans are extraordinary.
Oh, okay. So, ordinary Christians don't exist. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they're all extraordinary in their own ways. They're all subject to their
Oh
own
my
biases.
God, but you slander them all habitually with one paintbrush?
Yes, but I'm using the word extraordinary literally. It's not a
Oh,
compliment.
oh. That's kind of like weirdo or something.
Yeah, it's about the same as weirdo. Yeah.
Pejorative, yeah, in a pejorative sense. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
not a
Uh-huh,
compliment to say something is
uh-huh.
very, very different.
Are all Marxists equally religious?
Oh, I wouldn't know something like that.
I'm glad you don't sport that knowledge. Ah. Can a man be a Marxist, not a narcissist, a Marxist, and not understand it?
Oh, sure. I think that people think of themselves as biblical followers and don't understand that. So certainly someone could be a Marxist and not understand Marxism.
Do you now or have you ever endorsed Antifa?
Antifa. Is that the people who dress in black and show up at riots and stuff and cause
Uh,
trouble?
I think it may be. It's some acronym that's popular in some neighborhoods. I have no idea what it
I'm not
truly
really
is,
certain what they are.
what it truly is, or who they truly are. I mean, a man can label himself just about anything, but it doesn't mean he's a giraffe. Gee
True
whiz.
story. Yeah, I'm not really sure what Antifa means.
Have you
I'm generally
noticed?
disconcerted.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
generally disconcerted with pop culture in the world, in all the cultures. I really don't care.
Uh-huh.
I believe that all of this is a flash in the pan compared to our eternity with God, and that all of these things will be laughable memories.
Thank God. I hold that hope too.
Yeah.
um, do you believe that atheist-minded men commonly suffer from religious PTSD associated with their mother?
I well, I don't know that, but I do know that they object too much. You know
I
that
asked what you
quote from
believed. I asked what you believed, not what you knew. Yeah, go ahead.
oh,
Sorry.
well, I believe that there are occasions where it has to do with parents.
When did you become fully sen? When did you become sendoctrinated, Richard?
Indoctrinated? Can you tell me what that word means, please?
I'm sorry. I'm going to entreat you to come up with a definition that works for you.
That's a bad idea, Tommy. You can't just let people invent their own definitions for
Look,
things.
that's the nature of sophomore questions.
No,
There,
that's the destruction of communication. You can't have communication if everyone writes
look,
their own definitions for everything.
I everybody does though, Richard,
No, no,
and
no. We
I
have to agree on definitions before we can talk.
says who?
Says anyone who wants to have a meaningful conversation.
Do you speak Hicklish?
A little bit. Actually, I lived in the Appalachian Mountains for several years, and I do
Well,
speak
there it
English.
is. There it is. We don't have to agree on every definition of
No,
every
they
word
agree on the
every
definitions of the.
time. We can even use automatopoeia. Don't you agree?
I do agree, but I still think that chimley has to have a meaning.
Okay. Well, I won't contest it. If that's what you
And
believe, I won't contest
if your definition of chimley, this is a real Appalachian word that I actually heard in real life. I'm not kidding you. I'm not making this up. There is such thing as a chimley, okay, to the Appalachian people. And if I say that a chimley is a block of wood that you use to keep your car from rolling downhill when you don't have an emergency brake that you put in front of the tire.
it. Mm-hmm.
And you say a chimney is a mispronunciation of the word chimney, and it's what allows smoke from the furnace out of your house. Well, then we're talking about two very different things, aren't we?
True.
Okay, so we need to decide what a chimney is and use it that way.
How soon do we need to decide that?
As soon as the conversation involving chimneys happens.
And so you're promoting your own moral imperatives about the use of language. And
No,
you expect for me not to complain.
no. What I'm saying is that Green Pizza the dog likes East in the pickle.
So you're not fully indoctrinated yet.
I
Is
don't
that
know.
true?
I don't know
Okay,
what
you
that word
don't
means.
know. An ignorance claim. I'll write that down. Richard
Take
made
note
an
of those.
ignorance
They're
claim. Yes.
infrequent.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. Want to write to make a note of that. They're helpful.
Today, the 18th of 2024.
Yes. Hello. Um. But indoctrination. Have you ever heard that term?
From you alone, and I really want a definition, and I'll adhere to whatever definition you give.
Okay. Well, I am not prepared to render a definition of indoctrination of
But
at
Tommy,
this
you made
time.
up the word.
Oh, I heard it, sir. I heard it. I'm a
Oh, you didn't.
plagiarist. I'm a
Oh, I
plagiarist.
see.
Some
Okay,
some
you did not author the term. I understand.
some say, Richard, that all truthful poets are plagiarists. Would you
Okay.
agree?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I know that some say that, but then some say love, it is a flower, and you, it's only seed.
Okay. Have you ever been theosodomized in a live stream on YouTube?
I don't think so. Had a priest try some stuff with me one time when I was a kid.
He tried to inject his theology up into
No,
your
he tried
mind.
to arouse me sexually.
No, I didn't
Uh,
mean sexually. I meant
oh,
inject dogma up into your mind.
well, they all try
Theo,
that, but none of it ever took.
none of it.
None of it took.
Not
I
even though.
never accepted what any church ever said my whole life.
Have you ever sung the song "Jesus Loves the Little Children"?
All the little children of the world. How's it go? Red and yellow, black and white. I don't know why whites come last. Is that like a guilt thing? I mean, I know it rhymes
Probably,
with the rest of the song, but
probably. Which
did
is
they write it
it's
that
a
order? I wonder about these things. They
white
are
guilt.
perfect in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Yeah, I know the song, and I just sang it. So yes, I can now answer. I have sung that song.
How old do you think minority entitlement has been going on?
Always.
Mm. Uh,
It's just more popular today and more annoying.
do you endorse third wave feminism?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay.
I know
Second
that
wave?
women had more rights, more privileges, more freedoms, more control before feminism happened. I know that.
Do you believe that Stacy's mom had it going on?
Stacy whom?
I don't know. It's just some legend of Stacy's mom. Stacy's mom has got it going on.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm not much into pop culture, so I don't know the reference.
I hear you. I hear you. Um, are you familiar with the Beatles?
Very briefly, not very well. But in our culture, it's like Christianity. You can't help but hearing about the Beatles.
How many Christianities currently walk the earth?
The most recent estimate I heard is something about 42,000. Now, I think that's false. I think since every mind is individual and everyone
Yeah,
perceives whatever in some certain way, that there are as many Christian religions as there are Christian practitioners, whatever that number is. It's in the hundreds of millions.
I would say 7.5 billion.
No, that percentage of the earth are not Christian. That's not true.
So says you.
No,
Are you in
says the
are you in
statistics.
the habit of telling other men what is untrue?
Yeah, when it's untrue.
Uh-huh.
When they make
Uh-huh.
declarative statements
Mm-hmm.
that are
Mm-hmm.
obviously false, I might point it out.
How long have you suffered this compulsion, Richard?
My thirst for truth and spreading of truth and concern with humanity accepting truth all my life, actually. I mean, I recently had the pleasure of being visited by my eldest sister, who is some, I don't know, 6 years my senior or so. And because she remembers me being an infant and watching me, grow into realization that I am an individual person. She remembers when I didn't believe I wasn't an individual person. I was just a baby. So I asked her about those years, and she said most remarkable things about my behavior as an infant and as a child. According to
Wow.
my eldest sister, I never, in any situation or in any way, threw any kind of a temper tantrum, even when I was a baby. Even when I could not
Wow.
speak, I still never threw a temper tantrum.
Did
She
they
said my
beat you?
greatest concern was the well-being of others, and the way that I
Oh,
I tried to encourage the well-being of others was through observational humor. Now, a lot of my observational humor was observances about
I
human
believe.
human intuition and human interaction with the reality around them and how they thought and saw it and felt about it, which is why grandma started saving money for me at age 6 for me to become a psychologist.
Oh, when was tantrum throwing beaten out of you?
It was never beaten out of me. It was against my nature. I just didn't do it.
Oh, okay. I believe
I
you.
mean, even as a small infant, I never threw a temper tantrum, apparently.
Okay. How long have you been partially weaned?
Uh, well, I'm completely off breast milk recently.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't I don't
You are you
breastfeed at
lactose
all.
intolerant? Are you lactose intolerant or something?
No, I said breast milk.
Yeah, and I said, are you lactose
Cows don't
intolerant?
cows don't have breasts, sir.
Oh, thank
Cows
you.
have an
Thank you.
udder.
Good point. Thank you.
I do drink udder milk, yes,
Okay.
and cheese is made from it, and cream. I love cream as well. Butter. I love butter.
Okay.
Um, let's see.
Have you ever lactated?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, because sometimes infants lactate because
Well,
of the hormones, because of the hormones in mama's milk. I'm just saying, Saul. But
well,
if you
my
want to
mother
say,
didn't take any kind of hormone supplements
okay,
because in the years that she was alive, they didn't have those sorts of things,
uh-huh,
and she did not need them. She
mm,
produced plenty of milk and such just naturally.
whoa,
In
what
fact,
a blessed little child.
she was really good at gestating and birthing infants. She never herself had a problem birthing an infant. She nursed all of us, and none of us had any malnourishment issues. So she had plenty to feed us, and all all eight of us. I'm sorry, all seven of us were born within. I think the total is like 12 years. So she was like having babies like back to back to back to back. Like me and my next older brother are only 13 months apart. Like that's really just having a baby, barely recovering and having another one. But her body was good at it.
Okay. Have you ever been more overweening than me?
I don't know what overweening means, so it's hard to answer.
Look it up. It's a good one. I entreat you.
Overweening?
Yes.
Did
God.
you just tell me?
It's like a it's like a disease. It's like an addiction so advanced that I find it incommunicable. But when I found out the definition of overweening, oh, that helped. That helped. So I withdraw the inquiry then. Since
Uh,
you've never heard of overweening, I withdraw the
yeah,
inquiry.
I'm just sorry. I just don't know what this means. Oh my goodness.
Have you ever heard of the word pedantic?
Yes, I'm familiar with that word. I can be pedantic myself.
Um, do you do you ever let your siblings play the role of the know-it-all on occasion?
Not since we were adults. Oh, that's not completely true. I have put up with that from my youngest sibling,
When was the
but I
last
think
time you,
I think my youngest sibling has their own problems, and I really didn't think it was worth bringing up.
when was the last time you played the role of the village schoolmaster?
Oh, I just don't even do that. I don't think I have opportunity for that.
Do you like to teach?
Yes, in fact, I always have.
Wow. Wow. It's not your fault, Richard. It's not your fault.
Well, I come by it earnestly. My dad was a teacher in the Navy, and my mom was a teacher of high school students and college students.
Oh, pity me, Richard. My father was a philosophy professor who failed his oral dissertation to get a PhD twice.
Okay.
Anyway, pity me. Who do you consider more pathetic, me or you?
Neither. I don't think it can be. There's no metric for the sort of thing you're asking for. Okay, so here's a pie chart of world religions. Do I absolutely know it's perfectly accurate? No, but I'm betting it's fairly close.
Have you ever studied statistics?
So the smallest grouping here is apparently Baha'i. Oh, no, other Christians. I'm just going to include those in Christians. Sorry, I don't know what the hell other Christians mean. Baha'i at 0.12. Jews at 0.23. Sikhs at 0.35% of population. These are all percentages of population. Buddhists 5.84. Other religions, I don't know. Non-religious 11.77. Hindu 13.26. Orthodox, that which is probably all the Orthodox, including Eastern Orthodox, which is a sect of pretty much Catholicism, 3.53. Muslim 21.0196. Catholics 16.99. Anglicans 1.25. And atheists 2.32%. So there you go. About 2.5% are atheists. About let's see, of all the Christian religions, it looks like we've got, let's see, so there's 24, 25, 26, 27. I'm going to say 27% of the population is some kind of Christian. Oh wait, I missed a 5.77. So say 32%.
Brother Ace claims that 100% of humanity is Christian. Do you believe him?
I'd rather he were here to make that claim. I've never heard him make that claim.
Okay. Well, he also makes the claim that the
if he
fullness
made
of
that claim, he is evidently inaccurate.
Says you. Yes. Gotcha.
Well, says people who take surveys of world religions that I just
have you ever heard of the Socratic teaching method?
I have rather recently.
Do you endorse it?
The method itself, yes.
Oh, good. Have you ever tried to teach algebra to a third grader?
Algebra to a third grader.
Welcome to YouTube, Richard.
No, hold on a second. I think I actually have. I definitely taught algebra to a 23-year-old. There's a friend of mine who their child is now 6, but when he was 4, I was showing him things like algebra. Yeah, so.
Okay. Have you ever tried to teach algebra to a trigonometry class?
No.
Welcome to YouTube, Richard.
Right on.
Do you have any questions, clever or mystical or profound or any of that, humorous for me at this time?
Certainly. Why do you think there's been a Sabbath of God to this earth for us to celebrate and hold holy when the Bible says that God rests from all his creation, which would include mankind, and that the Bible promises and the God promises restoration of those who have passed away in Christ's name and martyrs, and the perfection or quickening of the population when they enter into heaven. And if you can perfect something, it's obviously not done.
Okay, can I answer now?
That was the end of the question, yeah.
Oh, good. I can consider that inquiry, which it is a true inquiry. It's not just a rhetorical question. I can consider it as a true inquiry, which I do. Mm-hmm. And I can consider it in a couple of different ways, according to form or according to substance. Why do I think because God wants me to. That might be a childish answer from one who suffers semi-deterministic perspective. Why do I think Christians
No,
are
no, no, no,
are
not Christians generally. You specifically.
me? Why do
Yeah,
I
just you.
think I have been exhorted to be fully convinced in my mind that some days are more holier than others, or fully convinced that all days are equally holy? I think because I read it in canon or scripture, or was it the Word of God, or some Bible, some holy Bibles, or other, or maybe I heard it on the radio, on Christian AM radio. You know, J. Vernon McGee, who considered the Sabbath and how controversial it is, and there's this verse in the Bible allegedly that says, "Let each man be convinced," whether the Sabbath is more holy than other days. Or anyway, I think that's enough of an answer. Yes. Next.
Okay. Well, first I would comment and then ask you another question.
By all
So,
means.
it seems impossible to follow in logic that the Sabbath refers to this earth for the very fact that we're not perfected, and thereby God's work with us, and thereby God's work with his creation is not done. It cannot be. Which means by necessity it must be referring to some other earth that has been completed, and that people of God did already ascend into heaven and are complete. So then, why would, if you do believe, why would you believe that the creation story, since we're not complete, has been completed, that the seventh day has already happened?
Well, you know the rumor mill. Tradition holds that the Sabbath is this and the Sabbath is that and the Sabbath couldn't be this, and it's like trying to convince a Vulcan what is logical and what is not logical. But I believe you, Richard. I believe your sincerity that it seems impossibly illogical, or excuse me, impossibly logical, that the Sabbath, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I hear you, Richard. It seems illogical to you. And I believe your sincerity.
Yes.
Now, just because it's illogical to you, don't mean it's illogical to Spock or some other theologian, but you may feel that it is illogical.
It's really not about how I feel.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's whether or not you can make a good argument against any of the premises or deny the conclusion. That's what it's about.
No, it's about whether you can make a good argument in the premises and the rhetoric and the dogma and the traditions and the rumors and the.
Said you, I'd be referring to my ability to construct a good syllogism. Yes.
Yes, and so you're actually saying if one is perfectly logical, it is impossible for the Sabbath to refer to earthly coming out of word salad.
That's correct.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Because
you feel is illogical, then it must be illogical. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, something is either logical or it isn't.
Says you. Yes.
Well, yes.
And you speak for yourself as well as all humanity. Because if you see it as logical, then it must be logical. And if
no, that's not true, which is why I invite others to destroy the syllogism if they're able to.
So that's why you petition other theologians to refute your own logic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can empathize, brother.
I think it's the only way we can be intellectually honest is to say to others, please disprove this.
But you, in order to entreat these alleged theologians, you declare that something is definitively illogical, as if it
Yes.
is the truth itself, as if
Well,
it,
no,
as if
actually, the
you
claim
have
is I'm fully
perfect knowledge,
persuaded.
as if you have perfect knowledge of all things that are illogical, as if you have perfect understanding of all things unreasonable and illogical. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, that's not the claim.
yeah.
The claim is that if you construct a syllogism
Uh-huh,
and all of the premises are true and that the
uh-huh.
conclusion follows, whether anyone likes it or not, they should, in honesty, accept the conclusion. They should just accept it.
Mm, mm. Well, thank you for affording my verbose retorts. You know, I get triggered. But next question, please. Unless you're not finished commenting yet.
Well, it seems that we have some side chat interaction
Oh,
that would
good.
be appropriate right here, right now. And then I'll get on to the next question after this one comment. Peter W. wrote Genesis 2:3, and he copied and pasted, apparently from a modern translation, which is fine. That's fine. But it's ironic to me that you could quote this to me as a refutation of what I'd said. And what that means is that you're so deeply involved in your own bias. I'm not trying to be insulting. This is the case. You're so deeply involved in your own biases, you can't see that this verse supports what I said. And I really wish you could open your mind enough to see that
No.
in order that it's the seventh day, then and God rests, then all his work that he had done in creation has to be finished. That's what this reads. And unless you're going to say that we are not part of the creation of God, or that if you want to say that God is done working with us, but I tell you what, you'd be very anti-biblical in those arguments. So to say something like, I believe the Bible and I believe this verse, and I'm going to use this verse to support my ideas and refute yours, Richard, is going to cause you to deny other parts of the Bible which you do presently believe.
Oh my
Whereas
God.
it doesn't make me deny any of the Bible. It makes perfect sense to me. Okay, so on to the next question now that we've
Oh,
done that.
wait, I have a comment. Can I?
Of course.
I wonder, do you really believe that Brother Peter W. is more semi retarded than you are?
No, I think he's
That
less
wasn't a
open.
question. That wasn't a question. That was a
Well,
confession of my wonder. I wonder, do
okay. Well, I'm going to
you?
disagree. I'm going to
Okay, that
disagree. I have an
wasn't a
opinion too.
question. That
I
wasn't a
have an opinion
question.
too,
It
though.
was a
Fine,
confession.
it
But
wasn't a
go ahead.
question, but I
Okay.
still have an opinion on it. Nope, Brother Peter is a good intending person who wants to be a good Christian. And I think he's just very indoctrinated, and I don't think that's his fault.
Sounds like you to me.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
On to
of
the next
course.
question.
Thank you.
In consideration of the logical problem of the Trinity, the LPT, where different experiences show that different beings having personage are not the same being and are not the same person. They're neither of those things. How do you justify any belief, like, if you hold it, that the Father is fully God and that the Son is fully God and that the God is one thing? And yet the Father and Son have different experiences.
Um, I was taught as a young theologian that I don't have to justify my beliefs. Not to you, my fellow pilgrim, not to God Himself, nor to Brother Peter, nor to Mama, nor even to my own defiled conscience when it is defiled. Yes. So anyway, I hope that answers your inquiry. I was taught that I don't have to justify my beliefs. that I
Okay.
don't have to call them grounded or brute facts, or I can just be comfortable that my beliefs are presuppositional, and I just don't have to justify them. And I know that's probably annoying, but
No,
anyway, yeah. Could you
it's
ask the
not annoying. It's
question?
just refusing to participate in the conversation, which is fine.
Okay, I concede. I concede that. I was distracted by the form of the question rather than the substance. Forgive me, Richard.
Mm.
Could you ask the question in a more childlike way that I might grasp it without,
You're
without,
funny, Tommy.
yeah,
You
go
don't
ahead.
need it repeated in a childlike way. Um,
Why do
okay.
I
So
justify my belief in the Trinity?
can you hold that
How,
thought?
go
Can
ahead.
you hold that? I want to address someone in the side chat because I like the side chat interactions and I want them to be part of the entire experience. I really do. Harpo Blues writes, Richard, how can you say that? Because Revelation had been written in the past tense. It already happened while denying a fact about the Sabbath that has happened, even though it's written in the past tense. That's part of my point, actually, which is why I said, and you may have missed this word, why I said that the Father has not had a Sabbath of this earth. That's why I said that. So it was very planned, and I said it very, very carefully. That in fact it necessitates there had to have been a prior earth to be a past tense statement, which is part of my point. Or maybe you're just throwing a ball in the air, alley oop, and I'm supposed to slam it. In which case, I did my best. And Tommy, you are muted if you're trying to speak.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, peace and respect, Derek. Um, Perhaps something more fundamental. Being familiar with the promises made to the Christ that he be dressed in white, seated at the right hand of the Father, given a throne, given a crown, all of which he owes to the Father. And in consideration of the 24 elders, that they put their crowns before God, and that the 24 elders are seated at the right hand of God, given a crown, given a throne, dressed in white. Why is it that yourself or other Christians might maintain that those are not past Christs? If you're answering right now, you're muted, just so you know.
Because they haven't considered it.
That's probably true.
What do you rate it as? 99%?
Oh, that it
60?
hadn't been considered? Yeah, I think that it hasn't been seriously considered, maybe even considered at all, because we tend to think of ourselves as the only earth God ever made, ever could make, ever would want to make, which, by the way, to me sounds like a very puny God. If God said this was a good thing to do and then only does it once, well,
Whoa,
how
whoa,
good can it
whoa.
be?
Whoa, don't sit here and besmirch God and think I'm not going
Oh,
to complain.
I'm not
Okay,
besmirching the
but
actual God.
oh,
I'm besmirching the Christian conception of God, which is very limiting to God.
oh, are you talking about my father again?
No, I'm talking about people's conception of what the Bible is trying to represent,
Oh,
and how
them.
they accidentally limit God in gigantic ways that he shouldn't be limited. Like, let me ask it to you directly. What would stop your God from doing this again?
Seriously or sincerely?
Both seriously and sincerely. It's not a
Well,
dichotomy.
there is a difference. A minute ago, you said that most people, I presume,
Well, now I'm asking you directly,
51%,
or
haven't
more.
considered that there are 24 Christs or something like that. Why
Right.
haven't most people considered blah blah blah, or yeah, something like that? Because
Well,
most
I
of
would ask
them,
you directly, like,
they
what
haven't
could stop your God?
sincerely.
What could stop your
uh,
God from making another universe or making another Earth? What could stop him?
Only a rock so big that he himself couldn't lift it. Wouldn't you agree?
No, I don't.
Oh, come on, that's an old conundrum.
Yes, 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 but it's logically flawed, and we all know it. Um, it's just an interesting thought experiment. It doesn't actually make
But it
sense.
is a conundrum nonetheless.
No, it's not. It's just a fun thought experiment. It's not a conundrum.
Okay. If you
It's
say
been
so.
resolved for a very long time.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Not everyone's heard that it's been resolved, but just the same.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. But anyway, your inquiry was, why wouldn't God create
No. What
other
would stop your
universes?
God? What would stop your God?
My God or our God? Which one
Your
are you talking about?
belief in your God, as your present belief is. What could or would stop God, had he the intent of making an entirely different universe with another
Wait a
Earth in
second.
it?
Are
What
you
would stop
implying?
him?
Are you implying that my God isn't the real God?
No, I'm
You
asking
better
you if
not. You
you're
better watch your
I'm,
mouth. You talk about somebody
I'm
else's
asking
father.
you if you
Jesus.
believe that something or someone could stop your God if he had that desire.
Couldn't you just say God instead of my God? Can't you repose that inquiry in a more honest way, Richard?
I
Please.
didn't say the God. I'm being nice
Why didn't you just say God instead of your
because it's not the
God?
same thing. God is too generalistic
Uh-huh.
term.
Yeah, that's what I hear you insinuating, Richard.
You know why the
Uh-huh.
word L? You know
You
why the
got
word
the
L?
only real you
Tommy,
got the only real God in
Tommy, stop
town.
that. That's not what I'm doing.
Yeah, you
Don't be
are.
so sensitive. It's not what I'm doing.
Nah, you're insinuating that you have the only real God in
I'm
town and that
asking you about your beliefs.
everybody else doesn't have real God like I
Will
do.
it suffice if I say I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay, well, I am sorry for several reasons, including it may have been insulting to you and it was definitely distracting.
Okay,
But
I'm sorry. I'm
could you
sorry I got
answer
triggered. I got triggered.
what would stop Yahweh from doing this again if Yahweh so decided? What would stop Yahweh?
From creating other universes?
Well, another Earth, in or outside of this universe, doesn't matter, but another
I,
Earth. What would
I would
stop him?
surmise nothing would stop him.
See? See? So why
See
not
what?
consider that if we believe he has the power to do so, that he may have or may will.
Well, if a bullfrog had wings, it wouldn't bump its ass. I mean,
No, it's not that kind of an
that's
if
a
question.
micro profundity. That's a micro profundity,
No,
Richard.
no. See, bullfrogs don't have wings, but your God does have the power.
Okay, I'm willing to consider that. I mean, what's the big deal?
Okay, now if you declare that something is a good thing to do, like changing a diaper of an infant is a good thing to do, to make sure that they're healthy and clean and they can prosper, right? That they don't get
Yeah,
rash that turns into disease, that turns into death. So we all agree it's a good idea to change a baby's diaper. Well,
damn,
if
you've
it's a
got a
good
gift for
thing to
understatement.
do,
Yeah.
if it's a good thing to do, then it's always a good thing to do, right? Anytime any baby has a dirty diaper, you should change it out, clean it up. That they need that. Well,
You
in the
believe
beginning of the
that?
Bible, in the beginning of the Bible, it's declared looking down at the earth from heaven's perspective, and he saw it, and that it was very good. Not
I can
just
tell.
good,
I can tell you've never
very
had an
good.
infant. I can tell you've never had an infant, Richard.
Well, changing diapers is also good. It's not very good, it
I
stinks,
didn't
but
contest that, but you said it's always good.
it
You
is
said
always good when they are dirty
it,
to clean them.
it
Yes.
is not always good to change an infant's diaper when it's dirty.
Are you
You'd go
saying you
broke.
should let the
You'd
urine?
go broke in no time
That's-
if you did that.
No, you use washable diapers and you don't go broke. You just have to work a little bit.
Look, your own moral imperatives are your own, and if you want to go around
Oh, no.
proclaiming
You
moral
said
imperatives,
objectively changing diapers causes financial problems. That is not true.
well, that was conjecture. Yes, I submit that. But
Peace and
what
respect,
I'm
Wilder.
saying is that in your mind, it is a moral imperative to always change a baby's
It's not the point.
dirty diaper.
That was a parable. Anyway, if something is very good to do, you should
Yes.
probably do it more than once.
Okay. And
Hugging a friend is very good to do. As long as you don't overdo it. You should hug them when you get the opportunity.
in the shower,
Let's not get weird about this.
I call it testing boundaries, sir. You might
Look,
call it weird.
well, let's not make it weird in our testing of boundaries. The Elohim
Okay.
look upon the sixth day and say it is very good. I think, you can argue with me, but I think things that are very good in the objective sense of morality should be done more than once. In which case, the Elohim should make more than one earth, considering that it is very good.
Well, in that case, I'd say yes.
Yeah, no. If something is good once, then it is always good. I agree with Richard.
It's yes, philosophically speaking, yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't know, man. I've had some good pussy. And never mind. Sorry to get weird. Sorry to get weird, Richard. Excuse me.
It's a little off topic, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's distracting.
So when you had that good pussy, did you immediately go, "Oh, I never want that again"? Of course not. You tried to seek it again as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
If pussy is good once, then it's always going to be good, isn't it?
Now that is a fallacy. That is a fallacy. If you've ever had chapped dick, you would understand that.
Okay.
Let me translate that for you, David. If you've ever thought that the woman was excited and you were wrong.
Oh yeah, but it would still be good to you, wouldn't it?
No, actually, it can chafe your skin and cause like a rash and like friction burns and all kinds of problems.
Oh yeah, okay.
He speaks from experience. Well,
yeah.
Believe you me.
Yes, I speak from the experience of other people, and I have not had that problem ever.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to come in and interrupt.
Okay.
I tried to go to sleep. It didn't work.
Well, it'll work later. Don't stress about it.
Yeah.
Drink some water. That'll help you go to sleep.
So my friend Christian and my friend Atheist are in room, and it's been more than an hour since I had a cigarette. Do you think you guys could prop this sinking ship up while I go have a cigarette?
Oh yeah. I can fight with Saint Tommy like all day.
You guys enjoy each other.
You call this a sinking ship? Jesus Christ.
No, but Saint Tommy, what can we argue about while Richard's away for a sec? I've just made a cig as well. I tried to go to sleep. It didn't work. So
try drinking some water. That always helps.
Oh yeah, I am drinking water, but it's got some vodka in it as well.
Well, at least you're drinking water.
Yeah. But apart from that, not to make it about me, what can we argue about, St. Tommy? What do we disagree about?
Let's argue about how good you are, Wildheart.
No, I'm fucking amazing. Oh, sorry to swear on Richard's stream.
You have a gift for understatement, brother.
Yeah. No, I'm fucking amazing. Yeah. No, yeah.
Are you a legend in your own mind or just in mine?
Sometimes I'm a legend. Sometimes I'm like the worst person on earth, but it changes. Like I go between. I'm, I'm not saying that I'm bipolar or anything, but it changes from being like me being the best person on earth to being the worst person on earth. So I might be bipolar, to be fair.
I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah.
I hear bipolar is actually a quite a common condition in a healthy mind. You know, but it's actually quite common, and it's just a part of growing. You know, it's a
Yeah.
part of growing. Of course, it's
Yeah.
been labeled. It's been labeled as something permanent. You know, as something. You know, if you were bipolar one time in 1978, dear God, you're always a bipolar. Oh, Jesus Christ. You got to go on disability and everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
but apart from arguing, Saint Tommy, is there anything I can do to help you with your life? Because I also really want to help people as well.
Thank you. You could become a fundraiser for small camper, because I want to go to South Carolina and see my family. And I want a small camper to rest in, to pull behind my vehicle. Now, I know the world is packed full of good causes. The world is teeming with good causes. And my cause, even though it's a good cause, is relatively a petty one. Yes. But it is a good cause nonetheless. And
Yeah, and
I would accept your efforts as a fundraiser for
yeah,
a small camper, which would be so meaningful for me. I mean, I've begged God enough, you know. I've grown tired of begging God, you know? Yeah. So sometimes I turn to e-begging. Yes. But
yeah.
but
So
thank you for your question. And look, I don't want you to trouble yourself about raising funds for a blessed camper. For me, I really don't want to burden you with that. But
um,
if you did, you would hold my gratitude.
yeah, no, I can't do it at the moment because it was on my stream that I need a new bank card, but in the next couple of days I will send you like £100, which will be about $120 because
That's a
I get
lot
paid
of money.
tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, but I
That's a
will do
lot of
that.
money.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I've learned something about pledges and promises. Um, you know, I've learned something about them. Pledges and promises, and
Oh, but I
I thank
actually,
you.
yeah, I will do that if I remember it, but I have to go now because someone's calling me. I'll be right back.
Oh, very good, sir. Pledges and promises, and loyalty and faithfulness. Yes, these are some of the most premium of topics to contemplate this hour on YouTube. Yes, loyalty and faithfulness. Can you buy allegiance? Can you buy faithfulness? Can you buy loyalty? Can money buy you love? Can can a camper be a form of salvation? Yeah, these are just interesting topics in my mind here in this mystical place, our YouTube community. I wish I could see the side chat. I can't find Richard's live stream. All I've got's a stupid StreamYard tab. Oh wait, I could push the comments button. Yeah. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our forefathers, never mind. I confess that I feel compelled to go and unzip my trousers and pee. And if I live, God willing, I pledge to return to this sacred place, this hour, this live stream. And a special hello to Peter W. Yes. Hey, Peter. I am black. I mean back. Kurie liaison, Christe liaison, Kurie liaison. As it was in the beginning, it is now, and is will be. Kasambara Shapalakandela Shitila Takala Chakifan. Praise God. He is rich in mercy to all who call upon him. All who call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. It is written. Jesus loves the little children, all the little children of the world, allegedly.
It's very interesting to me that one of the most popular sayings to express surprise today is, "Oh my God." That is to say, calling on the name of the Lord. And won't they be surprised when heaven arrives? And won't they say, "Oh my God," and call on the name of the Lord? And they will
I
be.
think you can include us in that category, Richard. Quite frankly,
Absolutely. Yeah, just seeing the immensity of a spaceship that would stretch halfway across the United States. Like, there's not even a spaceship that big in a movie. And those are the small parts. 24 of those. Wow. It's going to be mind-blowing. People are going to crap their pants. People are going to be dropping like flies from heart attacks.
oh God, please don't fearmonger me, Richard. Please.
No, I'm just saying that, when we're shocked enough, we have a tendency to just die. They'll be fine in heaven, but there's going to be, some percentage of the people that just die of shock. Not to mention that Hollywood has been doing their best for years to make us scared to death of all aliens, like they're all going to eat us. And
E.T.
and the aliens that arrive first are the human aliens,
No, wait.
which will
E.T.
be
was
rather
benevolent.
surprising.
E.T. was benevolent, wasn't he?
It was benevolent, but also very fringe for alien movies.
Yeah. Have you ever studied Carl Jung?
I've never studied anyone.
Uh, have you ever
I
heard
have,
of Carl Jung?
yeah. He was
Oh,
a
okay.
famous psychologist or psychiatrist from something about, I don't know, 70 to 100 years ago or something, I guess.
Yeah, contemporary of Sigmund Freud, I think. Yes,
Right.
but when psychology and psychiatry were one, yes. Yeah. Just asking, just asking. So, spaceship, pretty big, huh? Half the size of the U.S. It's
Yeah,
incoming,
you can do a
incoming.
direct conversion from
Uh-huh,
the Bible's description of the New Jerusalem,
uh-huh.
and it says the New Jerusalem is measures the same from any point of measurement, and the only thing that does that is a sphere, and says that it is 1,500 miles across, or 12,000 furlongs. We know what a furlong is. That converts to 1,500 miles. So a sphere that is half as big as the United States, and that's the tiny parts. The other parts are
Sounds
much larger.
sounds like the Borg. Are you
Oh,
familiar
it's
with
much bigger than the Borg.
the resistance is futile? You will be
Well,
assimilated. Yeah.
actually, the human beings fully ascended in heaven intend to leave us our free will and not overpower that, but be
Wow.
very, very persuasive, even coercive.
Oh, as if there's a difference. Um, do you believe in irresistible grace, Richard?
No, of course not.
Really?
No, I don't think that's in the text.
Uh,
I mean, unless you're talking about Christ and his special revelation, and for him it would be irresistible because he
oh,
needs to be the Christ.
oh,
But that's a very special case. That's a 1 in 8 billion.
that low, huh? Huh.
Yeah, literally like one in probably about 8 billion.
Okay. How many human beings do you believe have ever walked the earth?
Science's estimate at present is something like 110 billion.
Mm. Mm.
That's good enough for me. I'll go with that.
We stand on the wisdom of our forefathers, or of God, or someone. Yes. Mm.
Harpo Blues, it doesn't give a mass of the spaceships, any of the sizes of them, and no conversion factor, so there's no way for me to know. But if you're going to do the argument you did before, which was basically the mass of the spaceships versus at 3,000 feet, which is quoted in the text, off the surface of the Earth, wherever they hover, would cause large disruptions in gravity, perhaps ripping the planet apart or something like that. I don't know that they haven't or have mastered some kind of anti-gravity where that just doesn't happen. But their claim is that they're going to do us no harm, and they claim that directly, hurt neither the oil nor the wine, that or let the tares grow up with the wheat, and they'll be sorted on the threshing floor, or we're not to worry for which one is a goat and which one is a sheep. So it's said several different ways that that's for the angels to sort out. So from what I can tell, everyone is treated with love and respect, and in consideration of the fact they are a child of God, even if they don't think they are. So in order to protect us from themselves and do us no harm, they would have had to already consider these things.
Richard, you sound a bit somber. What happened when you went to smoke a cigarette?
When I have a cigarette, I feel more calm.
Okay.
In fact, I don't think anyone could stand me if I didn't smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, I've been insufferable since childhood, personally. But anyway. Or excuse me, I've been found to be insufferable. Yeah.
Maybe you're like an acquired taste or something. I mean, I like you.
Thank you.
And I don't like everybody. I love everybody, but I don't like everybody.
What do you like about me, Richard?
Well, you're very intelligent and quick-witted and quippy, and you, even if I don't think your jokes are funny, I can tell you're trying to be entertaining, and that's very nice of you.
Do you value the virtue of kindness?
Yes. In fact, I wish it was more prevalent in the human race on this planet.
Have you ever seen a little kid hit himself in the eye?
Friend of mine poking me. That's okay, George. I can't stand you either. Poke himself in the eye. Yeah, I think
punch himself in the face.
Oh, punch himself in the. No, I have not seen that.
It must suck to be God sometimes.
What kind of a measurement is stadia? That's not a real solid translation there, Peter W.
Richard, could you post a link to your live stream in the StreamYard side chat?
Not only have I, but I already pinned it from the beginning of the conversation.
No, not the StreamYard link. The live stream, the YouTube link, because I'm having trouble finding it on YouTube.
Okay, hold on a second.
I'm grateful.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you were asking.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a small kindness. I appreciate it.
It's no problem.
One thing I like about you, Richard,
you wanted that to be where?
In the StreamYard side chat.
Okay.
I think it's labeled private chat. Yeah.
You want it in the private chat. Okay. There you go.
Perfect. Thank you.
What were we talking about? What happened to Wildheart?
Kindness, the virtue of kindness.
What happened to Wildheart?
I don't know. I went to pee. That's all I know.
Okay. Well, if I should see him on cam again, I'll bring him back up. But for now, he's just taking up space.
Cool. I think he was trying to rest.
Well, that'd be fine. I wish him well.
Came back and yes, he came back in with the report that he was trying to rest but couldn't. And I exhorted him to drink water, and but so he might be rested. He might have, dare I say, fainted or passed out. Yeah.
Peter W.
Richard,
the Bible also calls the earth foursquare. You know that, right? I mean, do you think that the earth is a cube? That's not what foursquare means. Foursquare means there's four cardinal directions opposing each other. That's what foursquare means. It doesn't mean it's square. It's a bad interpretation, brother.
what's south of the South Pole?
Space? Well, first sky, then space.
Linear. Gotcha. Cool.
Well, once you get to the absolute South Pole, and by that I assume you mean not magnetic but geographic south, then the only direction you can go to stay more south is away from the planet, away from the core of the planet, maintaining that same azimuth, in which case you're headed for outer space.
Would that be a perfect ray, or would it include the circumference of the Earth?
Well, it wouldn't include the circumference of the Earth, and idealistically, it would be, at least theoretically, a perfect ray.
Wow. Fuck that question. Have you ever been wise in your own eyes before lunch?
Gosh, I sure want to be, but I don't think I am.
Have you ever been prudent in your own eyes?
Well, I wasn't done answering. Back when I was an atheist,
sorry.
I thought I was wise, but I was wrong.
How does a man become wise in his own eyes?
Oh, through pride. Lots of confirmation of biases due to biases, which is circular reasoning.
Why else?
Why else? I don't know. There could be a myriad of reasons, I suppose. Maybe they're very successful monetarily. Maybe they're very good at attracting women. There's any number of ways, I suppose, now that you've made me think about it.
From experience. How much
but
wisdom?
The experience could be incorrect. The experience is probably subjective. In fact, I think it has to be.
Is wisdom subjective?
No, actual wisdom would be objective.
How much wisdom did you consider before lunchtime today?
Just how I was going to organize my day and carry out the things that I'd promised I would accomplish. That's all. Not much.
I asked you to quantify the wisdom, not qualify it.
Anyway. I'm sorry. 3.5628
units. Gotcha.
Units of wisdom.
Okay. Yes, thank you. I submit for your consideration that a man such as I can become wise in one's eyes because one has beheld 3.78125 units of wisdom before lunch. And that may influence a man to be wise in his own eyes simply because he has beheld 3.17458 units of wisdom before lunch. You know, it's almost like he has done 3 algebraic proofs before lunch, and ping, he's wise in his own eyes. Anyway, thank you for considering that consideration. Thank you.
So welcome.
How about prudence? Do you consider a prudence to be a virtue?
Peter W. asks, what verse describes the earth as four square? Well, it's a two-step process to get there. It reads that an altar for sacrifice has to have has to be four square, and then it says that the altar has to be made of earth. So it's literally saying the earth is the altar. And then it goes on and on and on about it. Like, for instance, 1 Samuel 2:8, Job 9:6, Psalm 75:3, and what the heck does Joe stand for? Joel, I guess. Talking about the pillars that bear up the earth. So, and depending on your translation, sometimes it reads four square. Now, I apologize if the translation you particularly chose does not use the word four square, but some do. Okay. Wait a second. Peter W., do you think about what you say before you say it? What verse describes the earth as four square? You do realize that you copy and pasted a verse that does, right? Dude, you copied and pasted a verse that uses the term foursquare, and then you objected to the term foursquare. Are you kidding me? Did you read your own post, sir? Peter, go back and read your own post. Seriously, brother.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yes, the city, New Jerusalem, lies four square. Like the earth lies four square, the four cardinal directions. Dude, I was talking about the New Jerusalem when I made the original statement.
Richard?
Yes, sir.
Look, I got some deli fresh Black Forest uncured ham,
Wow.
Oscar Mayer brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it from the food pantry, and it was frozen. But I'm not seeing where it says fully cooked.
Uh-huh.
Do you think I am? Do you think it?
Wise
Do you,
in eating it as is? No, cook it.
but it says deli fresh Black Forest uncured ham,
Uh-huh.
and it says keep refrigerated, and it says 100% nitrate free.
That's nice.
But I'm just wary. Is it? Could they?
Tommy, is it
Yeah.
gonna hurt it if it's been cooked twice? Go ahead and
No.
cook it
No.
anyway. Okay, let's
Okay.
play it safe rather than you
Okay.
have some kind of
Well, it's two slices in, but I'll hold back. You know, what's a little trichinosis? Never killed anybody, right?
little trichinosis between friends anyway.
But thank you for that.
I mean,
I
I
don't.
would cook it.
My vision is semi-impaired, so I'm going to
Mine too.
continue to search. I mean, I hope they put fully cooked on there, or
Don't want to argue. I don't want to debate. Don't want to hear about what kind of food you hate. You won't get no
okay.
dessert till you clean up your plate. So eat it. Just
They
eat
would
it.
surely they'd put cooking instructions on this shit before they just sold it, I would presume. But anyway,
If they
thanks.
intended it to be cooked. But since it's deli, you're probably right anyway. It's probably ready for consumption.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you.
You're probably just fine. But I tend to err toward caution.
Yeah, I'm funny about pork.
Yeah, especially since the Bible says you shouldn't eat it.
Oh, I'm not under the law.
I'm not. He said with a mouthful of pork. That's maybe perfect in its own way, isn't it? Okay, Tommy, I think we're done for the day, aren't we? It seems like we are. You're having something to eat. It's making me hungry.
According to your vision, brother. Thank you, Richard. Thank you.
No, thank you for the offer. I appreciate it.
God bless him more and more. Yeah.
Oh, you as well. I don't think there's something wrong per se with a person having religious beliefs. Okay.
Thank God.
But I think those things are going to be short-lived. And I think the point of the story is that it ends all religious beliefs, you know?
Wow.
Also ends our time on the earth. That we will no more be subject to the light of the sun, you know, no more sunburns. Because heaven doesn't have a sun in it.
I heard that there's good. I heard there's good religion out there, Richard.
Well, I don't know what that means. All the religions are good overall in the social memory of the people who hold that religion, and that's the point of distributing it. And rather than just giving it to the Christ, so that people can adjust more easily when the things actually happen.
Well, I heard that good religion is to take care of widows and orphans.
I think we should, and for that matter, the poor, and the imprisoned, and the infirm, and the hungry, and the thirsty. And Christ says all of those things. As you have done to the least of these, you have done to me.
Are you suggesting a moral imperative or a virtue, Richard? Please.
Well, actually, I'm sure Christ is aware that it won't happen on this earth, but he does consider it kindness.
Well, I do not consider taking care of widows and orphans to be a moral imperative. I just consider it good religion. But who cares what I consider? You know, nobody cares. Thank you again, Richard.
Thank you.
Bye.
You got to kick yourself out. I don't put people out, so you have to do that. Thanks again, Tommy. Thanks for everyone in the side chat. I hope that I satisfactorily engaged with you. Please be sure to feed the computer what it desires. And that is to say, you know, all that stuff, like the video, pretend that you're going to share it, whether you share it or not, because it's good for the channel. All right. Appreciate it if you do. Peace and respect to you all. I want you all to know that I look forward to the day that we're all great friends.